Welcome to our channel, all friends. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to stay update for new videos. Thanks. Let's start new video. Opportunities like these don't come around every day, sweetheart. It's beauties like you who bring life to my clinic. Hearing his brazen words, shivers ran down my spine. A wicked smile appeared on the face of the young doctor sitting in front of me, and at the same time, he began to bring his hand closer to my face. At that moment, I had a drip in. I was completely at the mercy of this doctor. I wanted to call out to my mother, who was sitting behind the curtain, but before I could, the doctor placed his firm hand over my delicate lips and yanked me onto the bed. I was on the verge of crying out in pain. The syringe of the drip was hurting my wrist too. That vile doctor told my mother, "Mom, you can go home without worry. The drip will take time to finish. You can come back in half an hour to pick up your daughter." I was thrashing like a fish out of water, wanting to free myself, but my mother trusted this man blindly. She had left me there. His booming laughter echoed when I angrily kicked him in the stomach and, gathering my courage, pulled out the drip syringe. A wave of intense pain spread throughout my body, but despite that, I ran. Before I could call out to my mother from behind, that beast disguised as a healer had pounced on me, and the next moment, the first time I went to that clinic, I went with my mother. At that time, I had a severe headache. We had just moved to the neighborhood, and this clinic was very close to our house. My mother took me there. I was 16 years old then. For a while, we had to sit outside and wait for our turn. When I went inside the doctor's room, the doctor just kept looking at me for a while. It seemed like he had forgotten how to blink. There was no doubt that I was extremely beautiful. My skin was also very fair. If I fell ill, my cheeks would turn bright red. At school, I had also seen many boys staring at me. Many of those boys wanted to be friends with me, but I didn't pay attention to anyone. Yes, I did feel happy seeing boys looking at me, but I also feared my mother, wondering what she would do to me if she found out I had talked to any boy. Seeing the doctor staring at me, I felt nervous and quickly adjusted my shawl. Seeing me adjust my shawl, he seemed to snap back to reality too. He immediately gave me an expert glance, then pointed to the chair in front and said, "Please have a seat. What brings you here?" Then he asked, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "I have a lot of headaches. Whenever I sit down to study, I get a headache. I don't understand what the problem is. As soon as I open a book, a headache starts." The doctor smiled at me when I said this, then asked, "Oh, do you use your mobile too much?" I looked at him in surprise. My mother, sitting next to me, immediately chimed in, "Oh, she'd practically glue her mobile to her forehead like a sticker if she could. Whenever you see her, the mobile is in her hand. Then she doesn't have any headache. But when she sits down to study, the headaches begin." My mother had started scolding me right there in front of the doctor, and I looked at my mother in disbelief, wishing she'd show some consideration in front of this doctor. But seeing our argument, the doctor also laughed. I was in the 10th grade at the time. He prescribed some medicine for me and told me to use it regularly. I said, "Okay," and then returned home with my mother. When I took the medicine at home, my headache was completely gone. I had thought that this neighborhood doctor wouldn't be able to cure my headache, but just one dose of his medicine had such an effect on me, as if I had never had a headache. However, a few days later, I started having stomach pain, and it was at night. The pain became so intense that I started crying out. My mother came into my room and asked me what was wrong so late at night. I said, "Mom, I don't know. My stomach hurts so much I can't bear it." My father lived abroad, so it was just my mother and I at home. My mother took me to the same clinic because it was only a few steps from our house and was open 24 hours a day, since the doctor's house was above the clinic. Whenever an emergency patient came, he would come down from his house. When I arrived at the clinic, I was groaning in pain. There was a ward boy present. There was no nurse. He quickly called the doctor. In a short while, the doctor also came down. His eyes weren't fully open. It seemed like he had just woken up from a deep sleep. As soon as he arrived, he went into the room. My mother also took me inside. My stomach hurt a lot. He told me to lie down on the folding bed and then told my mother, "You go outside so I can examine her." My mother left the room and he closed the door. At that moment, I was so overwhelmed with pain that I had no awareness of anything else. He came and stood near me and asked me what I had eaten that night. I told him I hadn't eaten anything that would cause such pain. My heart sank when he said, "Lift your shirt up a bit." Hearing this, I flatly refused. Then he came closer to me and said, "Look, I am your doctor, and there are no secrets from a doctor." He whispered this, coming extremely close to my face with the same faint smile still on his face. In a panic, I immediately shifted my head slightly away from the pillow and placed my hand over my stomach. I said, "No, you can check me as I am. I'm not going to do anything like that." I instinctively looked towards the door behind which my mother was present. Looking towards my mother, I said, "First call my mom inside. Only then will I lift my shirt." At my words, the doctor seemed annoyed. He said, "What kind of talk is this? What secrets can there be between a doctor and a patient? This is against our principles. Come on, good girl." At that moment, I was in severe pain. My life was draining out of me. It felt like if I delayed any longer, something unknown would happen. Tears had started flowing from my eyes due to the pain, so I decided to let the doctor do his job. After saying this, he started placing his hand on the painful area. I closed my eyes, filled with fear and a strange sensation. Then he filled a syringe and injected it into my arm. As soon as he gave to me the injection, my pain started to lessen. The doctor then asked, "Are you taking the medicine I gave you to eat last night?" I said, "Doctor, I take that medicine at night." He said, "Don't stop that medicine. If the treatment is incomplete, your condition could worsen." I said, "Okay," in a tired manner. He told me about some dietary restrictions and wrote down some medicine. And then my mother held me and we returned. But now that pain started recurring every second or third day, and it would come with such intensity that I would be helpless with pain, writhing. My mother would take me to the same clinic because at 3 in the morning, she couldn't take me to any other hospital. This time, what the doctor did to me was unbelievable. He told my mother that an ultrasound would be necessary to find out why the pain was occurring. My mother said, "Where can I take her for an ultrasound at this hour?" He said, "I have the machine right here in the room. If you don't mind, I'll do it myself. Anyway, what secrets are there from a doctor? At night, no nurse is willing to stay here, so it's a compulsion that I have to do her ultrasound myself." My mother, seeing me writhing in pain, couldn't make a decision. He continued, "I've given her injections 3 times already, but she still gets pain. We need to find out what the problem is." My mother agreed to his suggestion. The doctor took me into his room and closed the door. I don't know why, but I felt very strange. I nervously said, "Mom, please come inside with me too. If you're with me, I'll feel brave." Strange restlessness and apprehension were rising in my heart, but the doctor said, "Bahan, no, only the patient is allowed in this room. Your mother will wait for you here." I glared at him at his words. The glint in the doctor's eyes made me feel a little uneasy. He was my mother, so if the doctor wanted to do my ultrasound himself in the absence of a nurse, why couldn't my mother stay with me? Just then, my mother glared at me and said, "First, these pains of yours start in the middle of the night. I don't know what junk you keep eating at school. You even bother the doctor in the middle of the night. If he's doing an ultrasound, let him do it. This is no time to be stubborn." I quietly went into the room where the ultrasound machine was. The doctor then told me to wear a gown. There was also a washroom in the same room. I went in there and put on the gown, which was quite loose and very strange. Even after wearing it, I wrapped myself in my shawl. When I came out, the doctor's gaze was boldly fixed on me. He made me lie down on another folding bed. The ultrasound machine was right next to it. I lay down there, but I was extremely nervous. I was overwhelmed by pain, and after that, his audacity and impertinence began. What he did to me in the name of ultrasound made me drenched in sweat. There was malice spread across the doctor's face, and I felt as if I was becoming the victim of his savagery at his hands. He gave me the same injection again and was smiling and looking at me. I had decided that I would not come to this doctor again, even if I died of pain. The next morning, as soon as it was light, I told my mother that I didn't want to go to that doctor. She asked, "Why? His treatment gives you relief." I said, "Mom, you don't know. I don't feel comfortable." She said, "He's a doctor, dear, and it's our compulsion to tell a doctor about our ailment. There's no other doctor nearby in this area. and your pain also starts at night anyway. The doctor, however, didn't find anything in the ultrasound. My mother said, I'm not familiar with this neighborhood either. It's new. Your father shifted us here and then went abroad. Now, where can I, a single woman, take you? The colony where our house was located was in a new area. There wasn't much population around, and that clinic was the only one in the neighborhood. One thing I couldn't understand was that I would be perfectly fine during the day, not even a slight pain in my stomach. But as soon as night fell and I took the doctor's medicine, the pain would start shortly after. He had given me many pain medications, some of which I had to take at night. This time, the pain was so severe that I couldn't even get up and walk. My mother tried very hard to help me find some peace and sleep, but I was writhing in pain on my bed, like a fish out of water. Seeing my condition, my mother took me to the clinic and after some time called the doctor and brought him. The doctor gave me some injection and my pain disappeared within a short while. He said, this isn't a solution to the problem. I feel like she's having appendicitis pain, and if this pain intensifies further, an operation will be necessary. There's no hospital nearby. Then he said to my mother, if you think it's appropriate, let her stay in the clinic for 2 nights. Her pain starts at night, so I'll be able to monitor her and provide immediate treatment because painkillers aren't the solution. And the treatment I need to do, I can do it here at home. The treatment is quite long, too. You can't sit here and wait that long. Before my mother could agree, I refused. I said, I don't want any such treatment. I told my mother that we would go to the city during the day and get checked at a hospital there. Hearing this, the doctor looked at me angrily and said, it's your choice. Where you're talking about going to the hospital, 2 cases have already come to light there. In that hospital, they removed patients' kidneys under the pretext of an appendectomy. They removed the patient's kidneys and said they had performed an appendectomy, but exactly 2 months later, when they experienced severe pain, it was discovered upon examination that one of their kidneys was missing. Hearing the doctor's words, my mother became nervous and said, no, son, I have complete faith in you. You are such an expert and capable doctor. Please take care of my daughter's illness. My mother was showering blessings on that doctor while he had his intense gaze fixed on me. Staying in his clinic for 2 days would be no less than torture. Many kinds of apprehensions were brewing in my mind. Saying this, he picked up his belongings and left. Before leaving, he told me, check your WhatsApp today. I was surprised to hear this. A short while later, a message arrived on my WhatsApp, and seeing it made my senses reel. The first time I went to the clinic for a headache medicine, I had to write down my name at the reception and also provide my phone number. I always had my mobile with me, so I gave my own number. Once, my mother had also called this doctor from her mobile to tell him that I was in a lot of pain. He had said, bring her to the clinic, I'll check her. The videos he sent me were enough to take my life away. It was a video from that same ultrasound day. I don't know how he made it. He said, if you go to any other doctor, I will viral this video on social media. My face was clearly visible in the video, but the doctor's was not. Seeing that video, my senses reeled. He said, if you don't come to the clinic tomorrow night, you won't be able to show your face to anyone. He deleted the message after I read it, and he had also deleted the video. I could never have imagined that I could be blackmailed by this evil doctor like this. I couldn't sleep the rest of the night. I was very restless. What should I do? What shouldn't I do? I couldn't understand. First, I thought I should tell everything to my mother, who considered the doctor a savior. But then I also feared that my mother might go to his clinic to rebuke him, and he would disgrace me. Anyway, I had fallen into a huge dilemma for which I saw no solution. If I went to his clinic this time, I would surely lose my honor. I couldn't understand what to do, whom to ask for help, whom to tell. Once I thought in my heart that I should tell my mother the whole truth, that the doctor whom she considers an angel in buses, whose name is always on her tongue saying, thank God this doctor is near our house. We don't have to go far. Otherwise, where would I take you alone? If I told her what a devilish mind this savior doctor of hers had and how he had wronged her daughter, my mother might die of shock right there. The biggest worry was that my mother and I were alone. My father was in another country. Anything could happen. The whole night passed like this for me, thinking about what to do. I don't know when I finally fell asleep in the morning, but then my mother came into the room and started waking me up saying, "What time is this to sleep? Get up. You neither pray nor have any devotion towards religion. All you do is stay glued to your mobile or watch TV. This is the result. Illnesses have caught you." I sat up with red eyes at my mother's words. It was clear from my eyes that I had been crying all night. When my mother saw my face, she sat beside me and said, "Daughter, are you feeling well? Is the pain not starting again? Why does your face look so pale?" Now, how could I tell my mother what that doctor had done to me? I told my mother, "No, it's nothing. Perhaps my complexion has turned pale from enduring the pain." My mother got me up and started making me eat breakfast, and I was reluctantly swallowing the bites. I was still having breakfast when another notification arrived on my WhatsApp. I turned on the screen, and the number was that same doctor's. The teacup fell from my hand. I was very frightened. When I opened the message, the doctor inside was saying, "Meet me at the clinic tonight, no matter what, or you know what I can do, right?" There were 7 laughing emojis. I was extremely scared. If I went to him, he would tell my mother to leave me at the clinic for 2 days, saying I'd get better there. And my naive mother trusted that doctor more than me. She would also agree and leave me there. And then what would happen to me all night at that clinic? I closed my eyes just thinking about it. I had gotten up without eating breakfast, but at the same time, severe pain had started in the lower part of my stomach. The pangs of pain were so sharp that I started doubling over in agony. If I told my mother about my pain, she would surely take me to the clinic once again, or call that doctor. But I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to bear it. Tears began to flow continuously from my eyes as much as I could. I couldn't even scream from my throat, fearing that if my mother heard, she would get scared. But finally, my patience ran out. My sobs started escaping. I had fallen to the floor holding my stomach. There was no strength left in my body to even open my eyes. I had fainted. When I regained consciousness, someone was running their hand through my hair. I thought it might be my mother trying to wake me up. I had even forgotten that I had fainted and fallen. That hand moved from my cheeks and stopped on my face. For some reason, I felt a jolt. I slowly opened my eyes and I barely managed to suppress a scream at the sight before me, because that doctor was standing there, lovingly stroking my hair. Then he lowered his face and brought it very close to mine. I could feel his breath on my face. This was my own home. I was in my room, but where was my mother? Where had she gone, leaving me alone with him? I wanted to move. I wanted to speak, but I couldn't do anything. Seeing me so flustered, he once again started stroking my face with a smile. Slowly, his fingers moved down my neck. I was writhing as if someone had placed embers on me. I was trying my best to squirm, wanting to remove the hand of that wretched person from my body, who was asserting his right over me as if I were his property. Seeing me so helpless, he laughed and said, "Oh, darling, why are you writhing? Why are you giving yourself so much pain? You are completely in my grasp right now. I have given you an injection that has completely paralyzed you. If I want, I can do everything to you right now that you will never forget for the rest of your life. When you close your eyes, you'll remember the doctor. When you open them, you'll still see me. How good it would be if you just agreed to stay with me at my clinic. All your troubles will end. I will free you from every pain and every hardship, but in return, you will have to spend 2 nights with me at the clinic." Even in death, I could not accept his offer. I let the tears in my eyes flow and glared at him with anger. My eyes were bloodshot. It was clear that I would never let him succeed in his evil intentions. A little while ago, he had given me some kind of injection that had left my whole body paralyzed. I couldn't even forget it. I was just shedding tears. My heart was screaming for my mother. That doctor sat right next to me, sometimes stroking my hair, sometimes caressing my cheeks, and sometimes moving his fingers over my body. His hands were causing turmoil on my body, and I was just extremely frightened. I couldn't even protect myself. This wasn't a doctor. He was a wolf, a devil. The devilish doctor said, "Don't worry, I sent your mother to the market to get groceries, milk, and some medicines for you. Your mother left me here to protect you, so that if your health deteriorates, at least I'm here with you." After saying that, he brought his lips close to my face and began his first act of insolence. My soul was screaming. I wanted to somehow free myself from his clutches. I was calling out to my mother, but my lips were silent. I wanted to kill him, but I couldn't do anything. He laughed at my helplessness and said, "What's wrong? Don't you like it? It's fine, no problem. No girl likes it, but does that mean I should leave girls like you alone? Oh, beautiful girls like you are my weakness. I love spending time with them. I know why you have this pain. It's because the medicine I give it to you intentionally. Whenever you come to me for an injection, I give you an injection that stops the pain for a while. Otherwise, the pills you take every night are so dangerous that they can hollow out your entire body. If you keep using these medicines continuously for a month, you will become completely useless. Yes, if you really want to see yourself healthy, it's better to obey what I say." By then, my mother had returned, and he immediately got up and sat on the chair opposite. After about half an hour, I had recovered again. My body started moving. Just then, the doctor began to leave. Before leaving, he once again told my mother, "Be sure to come to my clinic tonight, otherwise it won't be good for you." Saying this, he left. My condition had deteriorated significantly. My mother was very worried seeing me. My father also called from the other country. Talking to him, I burst into tears and cried, telling him that I was very unwell and asking why he wasn't coming back. Mom keeps taking me to this ordinary doctor. I've told her I want treatment from the city, but she doesn't listen. I was crying so much while speaking that my father also became worried. My mother, however, snatched the phone from me and said, "Have you gone crazy? Your father is sitting abroad." "What kind of daughter are you? You're worrying your father abroad. You should be ashamed. I hadn't even told your father about your condition yet because he gets worried." But what could I do? I was really missing my father. I cried and sobbed for a long time, talking to myself, wondering how I could free myself from this doctor. I even tried to tell my mother in veiled terms that the doctor wasn't good, but my mother refused to believe me. As night approached, the time to go to the doctor drew near, but if I didn't go to that doctor, anything could happen. My mother also said that she would drop me off at the clinic tonight so that I could get proper treatment. If my condition worsened, the doctor would be able to treat me immediately, but I had promised her that she would have to come with me. My mother said, "Yes, okay, I won't leave you." It was on this condition that I walked to his clinic. Seeing me at the clinic, a pleasant surprise spread across his face. The doctor made me lie down on the bed and started talking to my mother about my health. Once again, the pain started. He told my mother to leave, but I told my mother, "You are not going anywhere. I told you before, you will stay with me. If you leave, I won't stay here either." But my mother had more faith in the doctor's words. She left me in that room. As soon as my mother left, that doctor looked at me with great malice, as if announcing his victory. In my heart, I was cursing him to my fill, him who had ruined my life. And in a little while, I didn't know what was going to happen to me here. Given the doctor's actions, I didn't think I was the first girl to be his victim. Perhaps the purpose of boys like him is to open clinics in such neighborhoods where hospitals are far away, so that they can victimize innocent girls like this. He walked towards me. I was lying on the bed and a drip was attached to one of my arms. He immediately came close to me and gripped both of my arms. I could feel the firmness of his hands on my arms. I wanted to scream in pain, but I didn't have the strength. First, there was intense pain in my wrist. Then the pain rising in my stomach was causing me further agony. He laughed and said, "How long will the goat's mother wish for good fortune?" He prepared an injection, which was probably a sedative. After he injected me, I didn't know what he could do to me. Whatever he did, I wouldn't be aware of it while unconscious. I begged him, pleading, "Look, you must have a mother and sister too. Why do you want to ruin my life? Why would you kill me while I'm still alive? My mother considers you like her own child. She trusts you blindly, thinking of you as her son. Don't break my mother's trust. What have I done to you? For God's sake, don't auction off my honor." I joined my hands, crying. Tears streamed continuously from my eyes. He held the injection in his hand, flicking it with his fingers, and said, "The more you cry, sob, and writhe, the more peace I will get. This is exactly what I want. For you to keep writhing and crying in front of me, and for me to achieve my goal with you. Crushing butterflies like you is my favorite pastime. Your helplessness before me cannot melt my heart. It's better you stop begging in front of me because I will achieve my goal with you. I started screaming for my mother, but my mother kept telling me, "Daughter, nothing will happen. The doctor will treat you and you'll be fine." Before I could say anything, the doctor had placed his hand over my mouth. I was crying, looking at the other side of the curtain, behind which my mother stood praying for me. She thought the doctor was treating me, but he was about to do something else to me. The doctor, with his hand over my mouth, slapped me hard across the face. Darkness enveloped my eyes. After slapping me, he grabbed me by my hair and looked at me angrily. He held the injection in his hand like a weapon and then brought it close to my neck. I saw my death approaching. I was crying, but that person plunged the injection into my neck. I felt a pain joining my blood, which was once again numbing my entire body. That person began his brazen acts. He had also removed his hand from my mouth. He was gripping my neck very tightly. I thought that perhaps today my honor would be shredded. I would regret this moment for the rest of my life. One last time, the faces of my parents flashed before my eyes, and after that, my eyes closed. I heard a commotion near me. It felt like whistles were blowing in my ears, of screaming and shouting. The sounds of cursing were also hitting my ears, but I was oblivious to the world. As my mind awakened, I felt a stinging sensation throughout my body, as if someone had pricked every part of it with a needle. As soon as my mind became aware, my heartbeat quickened. I was returning to my senses, and along with that, the thought also began to circulate in my mind. How am I alive? If I am alive, it means that person attacked my honor. I started screaming with my eyes closed. I began to cry, saying, "Help, help," while weeping. Someone had gripped me in their arms. I was unsuccessfully trying to free myself while screaming when my mother's voice hit my ears. As soon as I opened my eyes, I felt a jolt. I repeatedly closed and reopened my eyes in a frightened, crying manner, trying to see if this was true or false because my mother was in front of me. My mother had embraced me and her face was red from crying. But then, when I turned to my right, my father was there beside me, his face showing a mixture of grief and anger. I clung to his chest and wept uncontrollably. My mother was consoling me, saying, "Daughter, nothing happened. Everything is fine. Your father came and saved you. Forgive me. I wish God had given me enough wisdom to distinguish between good and bad. Why couldn't I trust you and understand that young man's intentions?" My mother, standing there in front of me, began to hit her forehead, but I held my mother's hand. My father, in suppressed anger, told my mother, "Stop this drama now. I'll settle accounts with you when we get home. This is a hospital. It would have been better if you had kept your ears and eyes open instead of doing such dramatics." Seeing me cry like that, the nurse immediately came to me and once again gave me a calming injection. When I came home after recovering, I learned that my mother was sitting in the clinic at the time my father came straight home from the airport. Passing by this clinic, he saw my mother sitting there. He came straight here. Seeing this small clinic, he became extremely angry. First, he got angry with my mother, saying, "Why did I send you millions of rupees so you could get my daughter treated in this pigeonhole of a clinic? Had the city hospitals run out that you brought her here?" Just then, the door burst open. The person standing there made the ground disappear from under the doctor's feet because it was my father. The way the doctor was controlling me, my father must have understood something. I was completely unconscious and senseless at that moment. My father stepped forward in a rage, grabbed the doctor by his collar, and started beating him. When we got home, I began to tell my father everything that the doctor had done to me. Crying, I explained to my father how this man was blackmailing me, how he had installed cameras in the clinic room. My telling him just that much was enough. My father understood everything. He had already taken me to a big hospital where all my tests were done, after which it became clear that I was perfectly fine. I didn't have any such illness. Yes, that doctor had given me injections and medicines that would cause me continuous pain, so I would repeatedly visit his clinic. As soon as I told my father the whole truth, he was furious. He had locked that doctor inside his clinic and had also informed the neighborhood people about the despicable act this doctor had committed. Everyone was guarding him, saying they wouldn't show him any mercy until I revealed the truth. As soon as my father heard the whole truth from my mouth, he came out and angrily opened the clinic door. The doctor tried to attack him, but my father picked up a chair and hit him hard on the head. Then he dragged him by the collar into the street. Beating him, he dragged him through the street. That person had blackmailed so many girls. Everyone gained courage and started speaking out against him. All the girls in that neighborhood whom he had blackmailed until now, all of them now raised their voices for their rights. The people of the neighborhood severely beat that doctor and vandalized his clinic. Not only that, but a scrawny donkey was brought, and the doctor was made to sit on it. All the girls of that neighborhood whom he had misled until now were called, and black ink was rubbed on his face. My father told all the girls to hit him with shoes. He said doctors like him are not saviors, but beasts in wolves who take advantage of innocent honors when they get the chance. Such cancers should be uprooted and thrown out of society as soon as possible. I went last and I gave him a strong slap across his face. He was immediately handed over to the police and strict action was taken against him. Not only that, but my father embraced me and had a big fight with my mother saying, "What kind of mother are you? I thought you would be a responsible mother and try to have a friendly relationship with your children. You would scrutinize everything and see who is looking at whom, but you yourself are responsible for your child's condition." My mother was also crying, saying, "I didn't do anything intentionally. How was I supposed to know that doctor would turn out like that?" Anyway, gradually my father's anger also subsided. This time when he left, he took us with him. The medicine given by the doctor was such that it was making even healthy people sick. When I stopped those medicines, I became completely fine, while that doctor went to jail to serve a long sentence. My father arranged my marriage to his friend's son in Dubai, and today I am very happy in my home.